Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Joshua Suliruka here, your host of the Impact Podcast Show. Now, I've got another special guest on the other side of this camera. But guys, before I do introduce you to our next special guest, I would like to say two things. Number one, for those out there that are listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I just want to say thank you for listening. And also to those out there that are listening or watching this on YouTube, I just want to say thank you all for watching. Make sure you guys like this video, comment if you guys have any questions, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that bell button so that you guys can get the latest updates to our videos, and that will be cool. So that's the first thing. And the second thing I just want to state clearly is our mission, and our mission is simple. We're all about focusing on the one. So we want to focus on impacting one person. And so guys, if you get impacted by this this episode, whether it's through YouTube or Spotify, please let us know on our Instagram page at the Impact Podcast Show, and we will be sure to share that for you, and that will be cool. And so guys, I am so excited. I'm so excited to get into this. And this is for me, something that I've been planning in the past couple months. This guy's actually been on my heart to kind of interview based on his story. I know that his story is really, really strong. I follow this guy. I've been following this guy for a couple months, and I've been just hearing some of the small things about him, both directly in terms of his social media platform, but also indirectly. His friends, especially at World Gym, because he's a personal trainer at World Gym right now, and he's actually at work. I know that for sure. He's at work at the moment. He's taking the time out to actually jump on the podcast. And so, guys, I'm excited. And I was going to share to you guys a little story as to how I actually got kind of connected to this guy. So I actually done a video with Denzel, who's actually my personal trainer. And he actually, I done a video, I think, around February or March, like a couple months ago, before the COVID stuff happened. And I ended up coming to World Gym. And the funny thing about this story is I just came in just to do like a bit of, video on him. And then what ended up happening is straight after that, I ended up getting a bit of a following from certain people from World Gym. And Marco was one of the other guys, one of the guys that I seen that ended up following me through that. So I was truly blessed because, I've seen this guy's, like his physique is like tremendous, but not only that, but like just to see like such a mighty man, doing his thing. And I really wanted to take the time out to share that, because I think it's really important to understand how I am able to kind of connect with certain people like Mark on the other side. And so, guys, I'd love to introduce to you all Michael Appana.
Hey, what's up, everyone? So, firstly, bro, thanks for having me on your podcast. So just a bit of a background on myself. 28 at the moment. I've been doing personal training for the past 9 years. So pretty much when I left high school, when I was 19. Competitive bodybuilder as well, amateur level, obviously. And yeah, man, well, I do PT because, obviously I've been through a few things in my life, and which really drives my passion right now. So I'm not so much more for the money reason, and more so because I'm so passionate about making changes in people's lives. So because I've been through quite a lot of stuff, and I know what it feels like to turn that around into positivity, and that's what I strive for. So yeah, man. What would you like to know?
That's a great question, man. There's a lot that I would love to know about you, man. We're going to get into talking a bit about your story, and also I really want to know more about like how you got into the bodybuilding system, because I actually shared this before we actually started this podcast. I actually remember Michael when he was this. When he was a twig, bro. And this was like me, because yeah. So this was like a while back. But like funny enough, we went to the same high school, which is Fairfield High School. And like, that's how I remembered him. It was like this, like he was a twig at that time. And funny enough, like I still remember the videos like way back. I think it was, bro, when did you start doing bodybuilding, or when did you start actually getting into the gym?
Like 2009.
Yeah, roughly around then. Because I remember seeing some of your videos, bro. Like way back when you were like starting to build up, like not to the physique that you are now, but I remember when you were like just starting to form.
I was still pretty strong though.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Look, so I came to Australia in 2008, and it was term two of year 10, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, term two of year 10. And so for me, like fitness was always a thing for me. I always enjoyed sports in school. I always looked up to like very muscular type of actors. So one of my favorites was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And like when I looked at his physique, I was like, whoa, like that is something I truly want, you know. And then I used to watch now. So because of my background, I'm pretty mixed. So just give you guys a quick rundown of my background. So my mom, she's half Fiji Indian and half Fijian, and my dad is Cook Islander. So back home, we used to watch a lot of Bollywood movies, and
Yep.
like one of the guys from the Bollywood movies, his name was Salman Khan, and like dude was ripped, like you know. And I was like that's my favorite actor, and he was my favorite actor because of the body he had. You know?
Yeah.
So I kind of like always had that in me as a kid. And what really drove me was now being Polynesian. You probably know yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like everyone's just like big and massive, right?
Yeah.
But for me, that didn't exist. I was just that like skinny kid, and no matter what I ate, I just remained that way. So, like, because my cousins always like nagged me, like you know, it kind of drove me to sort of want to do more. So it's actually that's so when I came to Australia in 2000, I actually got serious with it. One sec. So when I came here, my school actually had a little gym. I don't know if you remember.
Bro, I full remember, bro. It's
Yeah.
fully changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then the more I saw, the more I wanted to do, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of just picked it up from there, and then I started watching a lot of YouTube videos because back home in the islands, it's like you don't have access to internet as much, but over here it's like totally different. So I started watching a lot of YouTube, started following like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, and like all these other guys, and I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. It's like something that I really want to do, you know. And then I just kind of went with the flow, man. I just kind of went where it took me with it, you know. And then as soon as I finished high school, kind of got more serious with it. And I decided that I wanted to compete because like I felt like yeah, I'm in the gym now, but I wanted to know what was next for me because like
Yeah.
I'm the type of person like I always want to see like okay, yeah, I've accomplished this. What's next for me, you know? So kind of competing was kind of the next thing for me. And then the next thing from competing was becoming a PT.
Yeah.
So now that I've been in the industry for about 9 years, I've already questioned myself what's next for me, and I'm in the process of planning that. So it's all happening now. So yeah, man, I just kind of went with it and see where it took me.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing that you share that because just imagine if you didn't, hey, just imagine if you allowed your cousins
Yeah,
or let's say the intimidation gameplay
yeah,
play on you.
yeah.
I don't think you'd be in the position that you're in right now.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. So, I mean, there's all these underlying issues that I never was able to identify until I was more of a mature adult now.
Yeah,
You realize, like, when you're growing up, you go through all these things that don't make sense to you, but they actually build your personality, and your insecurities are sort of built around the people that you grow up with, you know. And that's and it kind of indirectly impacts you without you knowing it.
yeah,
You know, so like for myself, like I was a skinny kid. Then I'd always get teased by my cousins. Back then, like I was like, oh, it's really nothing, you know. But as you start to grow older, like these are like underlying issues that contribute towards your insecurities.
yeah,
So kind of you feel like you're skinny forever, you know, like no matter how
yeah,
big you get, you know, like even though like sometimes even now that way I am now, I still kind of get into that mindset, but like
yep,
I always look back at how far I've come, you know.
yeah,
So, but the good thing for me was like to be able to identify, you know, all the things that made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And through that, because I was able to identify all of that, through that, I'm now helping other people reach their goals, because when it comes to like health and fitness, it's more than just about looking a certain way, like mentally, if you feel healthy, then like actually nothing else matters, like I'll give you a quick example, right? So now I grew up with social media. And I'm 28, so if you look at a generation that's younger than me, they grew up social media through their whole life.
Yeah.
And now because social media is around, um, everyone is obsessed with how they want to look because social media creates this normalization of how you're supposed to look, right?
Yeah.
So right now, this generation, we're obsessed with how you want to look. But let's look at our parents or our grandparents. Do you think they care about how they look? I don't think so, right? It's
No
because
way,
they
man.
didn't grow up. They didn't grow up with social media, so like there wasn't that normalization kind of thing that you need to look a certain way to be accepted into society, So through like whatever I've been through, I've taken that onto myself, and I'm helping other people to helping them realize that health will always start from mental first
Oh, 100%.
before you can go anywhere, If you feel amazing, then you you don't need to worry about how you look anymore. Because everything just falls into place by itself.
Yeah.
If you're feeling amazing all the time, just everything, it just falls into place itself, and just everything follows through. So I mean, yeah, man. I've been through like a lot more stuff. So I want to share with you guys a few of the things that I've been through, and what actually drives my passion now. And earlier, I was talking about my insecurities. So, and just a pre-warning, I'm about to go real deep,
Yeah,
right?
come on, man.
And like, I'm not scared or afraid or embarrassed to talk about any of these, because I'm proud of who I am today.
Yeah, come
And
on, man.
I wouldn't
love
be who I am today without all those things happening to me. So bullying was one thing I faced growing up. Then my parents were never around, so I actually never met my biological father until I was 18.
Yeah, wow.
And growing up, I always questioned myself, what is wrong with me? Like, why doesn't my dad like me? So it's kind of like an attachment problem, and then that attachment problem created an addictive behavior. But how you want to use the addictive behavior, I changed it into positivity, and I put the addictive behavior into being addicted to health and fitness. And at the same time, when I'm saying addicted, I don't take it the wrong way. Like, I was addicted in a good way. Like, I'm not being overly obsessed,
Yeah.
but trying to maintain a good balance where life is good. So that was one thing. Then my mom, because she was always trying to support me, she was working all the time, so I actually never saw my mom.
Yeah, wow.
I knew she was my mom. Also, because my mom was always working, and my mom was pretty young when she had me, so she'd be always out with her friends and partying and whatnot. And I don't hold nothing against her. Like, I love my mom to death. She did everything for me, and I saw that. But also, it was actually, I was spending so much time with my auntie. I started calling her mom, and I call my mom by her name. And everyone's like,
Yeah,
no,
wow.
that's not your mom, that's your auntie, and that's your mom. I'm like, well, everyone calls her mom, isn't that my mom?
Yeah, wow.
So yeah. So it kind of creates it's an underlying issue, and it creates this behavior because you don't have that love and attachment when you're young. Your mind will seek it later on in life as an adult, and that's what creates addictive personalities and behaviors, right? And that's when you see people getting addicted to drugs or alcohol, gambling, a lot of things, So if you're able to point out these little issues, you can change it and turn it into positivity, and that's what I've done. I've changed it into positivity, and now I'm helping other people change their lives. You know, another one was like, this is all got to do with body image, right? Now, as a little kid, I always got sexually abused, and the worst thing was it was by my own cousin.
Yeah,
The thing
wow.
is, like, yeah, so I'm not sure if you know, but like the Polynesian culture, like you can't really tell your mom, you know, because like you think you'll get like hit or
You got a hiding,
like
bro. 100%, bro.
you think you'll get in trouble. So you actually just keep your mouth shut and you don't say nothing, and then but at the same time it creates all these like body image issues, you know, because like at the time you don't know it, but it always comes back down to it creates all these negativity in your brain that you're not aware of, and then
Yeah.
you start to react, trying to get that away from your mind, but you actually don't know it, and then it comes off as like again like gambling or drugs or alcohol, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And then I think 2 years ago I went through like a very, very tough breakup, and it was like really difficult for me because like I was with this girl for about 8 years.
Wow.
And I have a daughter now with her, and it
Oh,
is actually the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me. Right? And for my ex, like I have so much love for her. Like not as in like I'm in love with her to be with her,
yeah.
but like I have so much love and respect for her because not only because of the time that I've been with her, but also because the fact that she's the mother of my child as well. But it was for me, it was a gift from God,
Yeah, come
and
on.
it was life changing, because once I did compete and everything, I stopped for a bit. I wanted to live my life because I was so restricted with training and whatnot, and I let myself go way too much.
Yeah.
So I went through like this really, really bad breakup, and then it like mentally, I was giving up every single day, not knowing that all the things that I've been through in life had some kind of impact on
Yeah.
my thoughts and my feelings and how I was reacting. But I guess everything happens for a reason, and the best thing about everything was I actually found God,
Oh, come on.
God saved me, man. That's like by giving me a daughter, because like I was literally at a point where I was questioning my life every single day. Like
Wow.
I blamed myself for like literally everything, So and then God saved my life by giving me a daughter, and now like if you were to ask me, is there a point in time in life that you'd want to go back and turn it around? Even though I've been through some tough shit, there's not a single thing I would change because I would never be the person I am today if it wasn't for all of that.
Wow.
So, I've through everything that I've been through, I've thought about it and processed it, and I've applied it into how I can change all of that into a positivity rather than having a big negative impact in my life, So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man, like it's a crazy story. And now I'm doing this job, and I'm helping people uh, kind of leave whatever like bad behaviors they've collected from their childhood or their past, and turn it into positivity and create into something new.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro. All right, before I get into anything, man, firstly, bro, I just want to say thank you, bro. Like, I knew straight away, man, that there was a purpose as to why I needed to interview you. I don't know. It was funny. You were on my heart like 3-4 months ago to get you on, right? But I guess I needed to kind of gain more clarity on myself in terms of the podcast. What's the vision behind it, and just kind of get some people on. And I did, right? And you're like I think my 24th or 25th special guest, like that has jumped on. And I think about it right now. If I had interviewed you like in the first few, I don't think I would have gone this deep, because the
Yeah.
first few I was just kind of getting the gist of interviewing people and things like that. But bro, I
Yeah.
can't believe it, man. Like what you just said, bro. I'm telling you right now, I'm getting impacted by it. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't. I'm telling you right now, bro. I couldn't give a straight face. Like my
Yeah.
mouth was like, oh snap! Like bro, I literally feel for this guy. And bro, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
man, thank you so much. And the real reason why I'm praising you
My pleasure, man.
for opening up, man, is because number one, like I didn't actually have to ask you. You will like you've done it freely. Like you end
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
like willingly say, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm just gonna open up about it. And I'm like, bro, that takes a lot of courage, especially as us as men, because there's a stereotype that we're very hard and like macho man, and especially for your physique too. People probably gonna look at you and be like, oh, this
I
guy's
get it up
tough.
all the
Yeah,
time.
100%,
Yeah.
man. And to see
Yeah.
you just become vulnerable and say, you know what, like I'm nothing, and I'm literally gonna share my story to literally impact people, bro. Really, actually, it's very touching to me, like
And
especially as the podcast.
yeah, and one of the reasons why I'm so open about it is because, like I was saying earlier, we live in a world of where social media has such a big impact on our lives, right?
Yeah,
So we have normal people that follow influencers.
yeah.
Now, if you were to go to my page and you look at the people that I follow, the only influencers that I follow are actually the people that I know in person. Otherwise, I don't follow any influencers. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Now, like I said, everything I analyze and I turn it into positivity, right? So I used to follow influencers, and I analyzed it, and I wanted to know how it was impacting my life.
Yeah.
So when I analyzed it, I saw that I was following all these influencers. And what do influencers do? They promote products for certain companies, blah, blah, blah. Okay, one thing that I saw that influencers never did, they never, like, it's very rare for an influencer to share their bad moments,
Oh,
right?
100%, bro.
So
100%, man.
the followers think that these people are living the best life. They never have a problem in the day in their life. So, and then what happens is normal people compare their influencers' highlight reels, I'd like to say, to their whatever, like all their bad times, because
Yeah.
like they start to think like, oh, like I'm not good enough for society because like, oh, look how this person is living. I think
Yep.
pretty sure this is what normal looks like. But not knowing that that influencer has just as amount of the same shit to deal with as the person that's looking at them, but it's just that because they don't share it, it's not normal. So that's why I'm so open about like my lifestyle and the things that I've been through, because I want people to know that it like stuff like this is normal, man. Like people go through shit, and it's normal, and like it's okay to feel sad, and it's
Yeah.
okay to feel all the feelings that you have, and that's just humans who have feelings. But it's what you do out of them is what it's like. It's going to determine where you're going to be in your life. So I've taken all this and I was like, you know what? Like I need to step it up, and I'm gonna be a better person.
That's amazing, bro. Honestly, bro. Like you're like kind of like the fair few let's say influencers out there, because you do have a following happening on your social media that would actually be open enough. Like I totally agree on what you said, because
Yeah.
and like, so is that the reason why you chose not to follow? Is that the reason why? Like in terms of like influencers?
So I actually unfollowed all the
Yeah,
influencers
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because now how I perceive it is like if I'm following an influencer, I want to know how that person is going to bring value to my life.
Hundred
Because you
percent.
know what, you can make all the money in the world and you can go spend it and you'll make that money back. But one thing you don't get back is your time.
Oh,
And, and we
very
live in a
good.
time where we spend so much time on Instagram, YouTube, or whatever it is. Just we spend so much time on technology, and no one spends enough time to reflect back on themselves and how they can be a better person in their career or in their life or in their family or whatever it is they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Everyone's just kind of stuck and stagnant. And one thing you don't get back is your time. So like, why would you want to waste so much time on Instagram and stuff? Like, I'll look back at how much I used to use Instagram, and sometimes I'll get like 38 hours, 32 hours a week, and like I'm like, shit, that's a full-time job. Like I've got to do something, you know.
Legit.
So yeah, man, and that's why I decided, like, you know, I need to analyze, I need to step it up, and I need to put my focus where not only I'm being more positive about myself, but also to others as well. So yeah, man, and my following comes from, so I mean, Instagram's been around for quite a long time. I've competed several times, you know, so I know people from there. I've worked at several gyms. I've trained at several gyms, all over Sydney and stuff. I was born in Fiji as well, so like I've got a lot of cousins there and whatnot, and there's a few in New Zealand. So it's like, you know, every time someone posts something on their story and tags me, it kind of brings attention always back to my social media kind of thing. So that's sort of how I got all my following base. You know, it's just like word of mouth. Like, hey, this guy's my trainer. You should go check him out. And like they'll be like, oh, okay, like maybe I should follow him. You know, so yeah, man.
Bro, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy, man. And bro, thank you so much, bro, for sharing on like even this like the social media side, because I think that's a really like, let's say taboo kind of topic to talk about. You know, not many people want to talk about that. Reason being is because they're actually in it. You know, they get like kind of like that self kind of gratification, the instant gratification, the fulfillment that that they're trying to, because like I work with kids, right? I work with primary school kids at a primary school, and the one thing that's becoming a big issue is obviously their self-esteem and their self-image. And what they're doing is they're going on TikTok and going on like on you know, Instagram and stuff like that, trying to seek gratification. But the only thing is, I've learned that they don't know. They don't know that that's the thing that they're driving on. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because they're not mature enough. So like, you know, they don't understand it yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like for me, it kind of took me, like, it took me to get to my lowest point to be able to try and dig up from there on and identify all of that, you know. So that's why I'm here trying to help everyone, man, you know. So there's one thing that I do in my PT that I've just recently started doing, and I haven't like done it all the time. But now I do a lot of mental assessments.
Nice.
So I always ask my clients, like, okay, I ask them very personal questions, and I tell them, look, I'm asking these personal questions not because I am being nosy into your life and your business, but it's because I want to know where you're at mentally in life, so that me as a coach, I can help you a little bit better, because, you know, everyone's been through some shit in their life. And I've been through a lot of stuff in my life too. And this is how I've done it. So maybe if you try this, it could possibly work for you as well. You know, so I ask them questions like, oh, okay, so what made you just stop your meal plan and go eat all out? And they'll tell me, and I'll be like, okay, so why did you stop? And they'll be like, oh, because I had a check-in with you. Or they'll be like, oh, I stopped because I felt sick, or whatever, you know. But whatever their answers are, it kind of gives me a perspective on where they are with their fitness goals and how important it is to them.
Yeah.
And then I can always challenge them to do better, or help them in terms of, like, you know, I give them like, okay, maybe you should try this next time and see if it works. And it's been working amazing, man. It's been working wonders, you know. So that's something new to me. That's only because I've done this whole analyzing thing and whatnot. And to be honest with you, like, I never thought of this idea. I never Googled this idea. It kind of just came just out of nowhere. Honestly, just one day I was sitting with my client and they had like really bad results, and I just started asking them random questions about their life. And then I figured that, like, when they were answering me, I came to a conclusion that I was actually helping them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so this is pretty good. So I kind of like started practicing a little bit more, and it's like it's working really, really good, you know. So if there's any trainers out there or personal trainers out there, I highly recommend you do that kind of stuff as well, because it works.
So that was the mental assessment, right? That you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep, bro. That is, I do believe that helps out a lot in terms of like the training side, because I think for people out there that are wanting to get, like, let's say, body transformation, or wanting to, become a lot stronger, or wanting to lose weight, all they're focusing on is the fruit, as I would say. They're only focusing on the outward sides, but they're not really focusing on the insides. And I guess that's one thing that could really, like, make a big distinction between like a PT going good to, like, one of the greatest out there. I think I look at the PTs out there that I know. It's like one thing that they do focus on is more about your lifestyle, being like, how's life going outside of training, like, and obviously having that bit of kind of like limitation, like, obviously there's a certain boundary. You don't want to go too far out in terms of having conversation, and obviously there's confidentiality and certain things like that.
And in saying that, while you're at the top, sorry to stop you.
No, it's all right, bro. It's all right.
Yeah. So you know how you said with limitation? So I never knew that limitation. And this is what caused my breakup 2 years ago.
Wow.
I didn't know that limitation. So
wow.
My breakup was because I had associated my feelings with someone that I worked with.
Yep.
I mean, like, there was nothing physical, but it's still wrong. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So that taught me, like, a very, very big lesson, man. Like, like, that's my limit, and that's where I need to stop. But if I wasn't to experience it, then I would have never known.
100%, bro. 100%, man. It's funny you say that, bro, because I've actually heard stories, and, like, it's all based on true stories of certain people not really understanding the difference between, like, a personal relationship and a professional. Yeah. There's, having that duality. That's something that I learned in uni, just understanding, when you're going to meet a certain client, at the end of the day, like, yes, you got to try and have that personal relationship, being able to kind of build that rapport or build connection, but you also need to understand that you're wearing a title on you. Like, for me, like, being a wellbeing officer, there's only so much things that I can talk about with the kids in terms of my life. But the same thing with me, I can't ask him all these personal questions because then there is some sort of an attachment in terms of emotions that can get connected.
Yeah. So with the stuff that I do, even though where I am today, it is still difficult, man. Like, nothing comes easy, like, I remember when I started as a PT, I was only 19. Now, when it comes to being a PT, you can either be self-employed, so you're a subcontractor and you pay rent to the gym, and whatever you make from the clients you keep for yourself. Or you can go work for, like, a club where it's a 60-40 cut and they just pay you an hourly rate. But that hourly rate is not based on how long you spend at the gym, it's how many clients you train at the gym. So you could be at the gym for about 40 hours and you only trained about 20 hours worth of clients, you only get paid that much. So I just threw myself in the deep end. And it was kind of like, when I didn't know how it worked, but I just did it anyway, So, and it was really difficult trying to get clients, man. Like, imagine being 19 and trying to have all this knowledge about, like, people asking you questions, and, like, you don't have that much experience, and, like, you really don't know. And, like, I had to just honestly tell them, like, I don't know, like, let me research it.
Yeah.
And then I'll get back to you. So some of them really appreciated that I was really honest. And then some of them were like, oh, like, why are you a PT for? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. I could have easily been disheartened and just walked away from it. But like, no, I was like, no, you know what? Like, this is something that was made for me. I'm going to keep doing it. So I kept doing it. So when I started, so I was, like, making like $400 a week, right? And it was nothing, But the good thing was, like, I was living with my parents, so I didn't have much bills to pay. So that was the hard part, getting clients back then when I first started. So now I have a very large base of clientele. But let me tell you this, you'd probably think I get clients like that. Let me tell you, it is not how it works. Now, to get clients online is very easy. to get clients in person to train them one-on-one is actually still hard for me right now. And I'll tell you exactly why. It's because of how I look.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a very large person, so 110 kilos of pure muscle, right? I can come across as very intimidating. So for a person to try to approach me, and because you got to realize that person doesn't know nothing about me. All they can see is big muscles, right? They are scared. They are scared. They automatically assume like, oh my God, like this trainer is gonna scream at me, yell at me, make me vomit. Like they get scared. I'm telling you. So still to this day, it's really hard to get clients. Like especially if it's females, and especially females with partners that are jealous.
Oh.
They like, oh, why are you getting this PT for? Like, can't you go with that skinny guy? So no matter how good you are, no matter how well you have succeeded in whatever you're doing, you're always going to find some kind of hardship, man. It's just like, and it's not something to be, taken negatively and let that be a setback for yourself. You actually need to keep driving forward and see what you can do better and how you can approach it. So I mean, you just got to put yourself out there. Which is what worked for me. But I get labeled all kinds of names, like I could go on forever, man. So I get all kinds of stereotypes, like that guy's only that big because he takes steroids or whatever, or like, oh yeah, like he's the player or whatever it is, because it's just based on how I look. And it's normal. People do that all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, but you can't let that get to you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, people will always have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And you don't really have control over that. But what you have control over is your own thoughts and your own feelings. So it's up to you how you want to channel that energy. So yeah, man.
Bro, that's crazy, man. And bro, I love that you shared about your body image and the fact that there was some clients that probably would potentially not sign up to you just on like the way you look. And I think a lot of people out there don't understand how difficult it is to be kind of big, just being big in general, like in terms of clothing, it's like you have to get bigger clothing or, in terms of, yeah, no, legit, like they don't really understand like how difficult it is, especially for you, bro. Like you just mentioned that like there was some clients that would say, oh, probably not, or they probably wouldn't even approach you, even though you're a good trainer. They wouldn't approach you just because of the way you look.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's pretty, like, especially like, I don't know if you can see in the video, but like, it's like all these veins and whatnot. And especially like now I've got this tattoo as well. Probably not.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help out, bro.
But even my tattoo, man, I just it has very deep, full meaning to it. Like I was talking to you about my mental health before.
Yeah.
And I told you, like, sometimes I get to that place mentally. So for me, it's like this tattoo is a reminder of who I am and what I've been through, So I'm yet to finish the piece off anyway. Just gonna put my daughter over here.
Mad.
And it'll be done. But yeah, man, it's like I was saying, like no matter what you do, it's always gonna be hard. Sorry, I accidentally played music.
No, it's all good. But yeah, man, I guess at this stage, both firstly, man, thank you for actually sharing a bit. You've actually made my job a lot more easier, easier to work with, bro. Which is cool. But what I want to do now, man, is like there was one word that you mentioned, and it was setback. And what I want to do first now is, one thing I believe in as a podcast host on the Impact Podcast Show is I always believe in this quote that before the glory, there is always a story. Before you being, the PT that you are, because obviously, in other people, they can probably see you as, like one of the top PTs around there. But for you, you're like, oh, I'm just a normal person, right? Like you're probably looking at yourself like, I'm just a normal PT, but other people may perceive you.
I look up to people, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You got to realize, like, the people we look up to, they look up to someone too.
Yeah, there's always like, there's always kind of like, there's always like a, in terms of a domino effect that, like in terms of looking up to people. And so what I want to do now, man, is I want to go back. I want to go back to, I think it was probably like 10, 15 minutes into the podcast where you started to share a bit about your background in terms of, I think there was 3 things that you mentioned, 3 kind of setbacks that you went through. And so I want to kind of dive into that, because I want people to understand the real side behind Michael Appana. I want people to know the kind of the realness behind, that's the thing I love about doing, running a podcast show like the Impact Podcast Show, because it's all about impact and it's all about finding ways to, have people to be able to relate to you. So, bro, can you kind of share more specifically on the first? I think the first one you were talking about was your parents. The fact that you're like you mentioned that you don't really know much of your father. Could you kind of share a bit about that?
Yeah. So I wasn't ever planned. So my parents were never married.
Yep.
They were just dating at the time. And they were both pretty young, and I wasn't planned. And the moment, so this is what I know from what my mum has told me.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment when my mum shared the news with my dad, he actually fled the country, and I never saw his face again until I was 18. And that's when I was in Australia. His brother lived in Mossman. And then as a kid, when I was growing up, my mum dated this guy, Matthew. And when I was in Australia, Matthew actually found me on Facebook. And then he's like, whoa, he's like, it's so crazy that I found you on Facebook. And he's like, you're so grown. He's like, have you met your dad or your uncles? And mind you, like, I don't even know how he is connected to my dad, but he started sending me pictures, right? And all I see is one jacked dude in a rowing boat. Whoa! I'm like, that's my man. Like, cause like, like when you're growing up and like you're always hunting. I mean, I guess people that grew up without parents would only know this feeling, but you get this feeling like, oh my God, like this is like the person that created me, and like I was like all kinds of like mixed feelings and emotions, and I just wanted to meet him. So anyway, like I teed it up with him. I didn't ask him too much questions because like I just wanted to know who this person was.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I met him. I was 18, and is like I can still remember like every little thing in detail, because that's how much an impact they had in my life. And because it's so important to me. It's like I remember everything in my head like a movie, like this Toyota Hilux pulls up and there's like massive calves just come out of the Hilux, in thongs.
Yeah.
And then and I see my dad, and I was like it was filled. My heart was filled with joy and excitement. I was like, I can't believe like this is my dad. He's jacked. Dad is Arnold Schwarzenegger. So and then it was great. Like we went out. It's crazy. I went clubbing with him actually. We had a few drinks and whatnot. And then it was all good, and then he had to leave, and he went back to his country in Cook Islands. Then as I started, like as an adult, you start to mature more. Then like I started thinking like okay, now I know him, and that was it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like
there was no more contact after that. So I mean, as sad as it is, I can't hold that against him for the rest of my life. Like one of the things that I learned as a Christian is like you can't really hold onto things and grudges. So like I forgave him, and I wish him nothing but the best and all the happiness in the world. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it was kind of hard, like especially in primary school and stuff, when the teacher was like, hey guys, it's Father's Day, we're gonna do a Father's Day card, and like I was pretty lost, like I didn't know what to do. And pretty much like any guy that my mom was dating or seeing, I want to call them my dad. Like I'll tell my friends like, oh, this is my dad, but actually they're just dating my mom,
Yeah.
But it's just, it's just the innocent child's brain Like you don't really think anything of it. But now when I think of it, I'm like, oh, I was a ridiculous kid. I'm making anyone my dad. So yeah, man, like I didn't let it get to me too much. Like every now and then, yeah, but it is what it is, and I'll just let it go. So I do have a half brother and a sister, which is, you know, they live in Cook Islands with my dad as well. I have them on Facebook and whatnot, but I don't talk to them.
Yeah.
The thing with that is like my dad calls me son, but I feel weird to call him dad. I don't know, because I never had that as a kid, you know what I mean? So even like my girlfriend's parents, like when I met her mom, like I found it so weird to call her mom by her name.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it's like an Islander thing or if it's just how I grew up.
Yeah.
So with her mom, I just call her mom because I find it easier to call her mom.
Yeah.
And then, but with her dad, I can't call him dad. Like I feel weird to call him dad because I've never called anyone dad. You know?
Yep.
So, like I have to call him by his name. So yeah. So I mean, yeah, man. Like I just I can't. What I am gonna do though from that is like I want to make sure I'm there for my daughter and
Come on,
the kids that I have.
come on, man.
So yeah, man. I just want my kids to have what I didn't have, and
Yeah,
it was like the love and me being there for them, which is what I didn't have when I was a kid. You know, because like money can't buy happiness, man.
100%.
Yeah, and myself, I realize kids measure love through time and not what you buy them. You know, it's how much time you give them is how they measure their love with you.
This is amazing, bro. I swear this was meant to happen now, and I'll tell you this why, bro. Funny enough, you like the reason why I asked you about, you know, your like to share a bit about your father was because I was in a similar position as you. You know, the only thing that was different was that I seen my dad here and there, but he was never in the picture. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I can relate to you in terms of being fatherless. Like I know how it feels to be fatherless. So, bro, when you were mentioning about that, I'm like, bro, I can literally like resonate with you. You know, there was moments, even still to this day, where it hits Father's Day, and I'm like, yeah, that's all right. That's like it's just a normal day for me. You know, it's not as special as opposed to Mother's Day. When it comes to Mother's Day, like, oh, bro, I want to spoil mom and all that jazz. And bro, the one thing that I love that you mentioned was about time. You know, about like that's what we measure. Like growing up, that's all we wanted. All we wanted was time with our parents, specifically our father, because he was never there. Like, it was funny. I'm actually in the process of going into schools, and this is like an exclusive thing I'm going to say right now. Like, I haven't told anyone this yet, but my goal is actually to reach out to those that are fatherless. You know, connect to the kids out there that are young, and actually kind of be the father figure in their life, not physically, but actually go into school and actually meet them where they are. Because at the moment now, there are fathers out there, and it's not even just kids that are fatherless. It's probably kids out there that do have a father, but he's not present. Like he's too busy at work, you know what I mean? And so for me, like my goal is to, you know, for kids out there that don't know their father, like yourself, like I want to be able to build a fund where I'm able to connect like someone like yourself to their parents, you know, to focus on building that. You know, you had Matthew, a guy named Matthew that was able to connect you to your father. And it's like, that's what I want to do. You know, my heart's longing for that. And so that's why I was like, bro, this is crazy, man. It's crazy that we're talking about this, bro. And like, to me, or I think to us, this is something that's real touching because, you know, the moments of us growing up, you know, in our life, there's been a lot of moments where we wanted to fill in that gap. We wanted to have a father in our life to actually be there. You know, there was one thing that I mentioned. I was like, man, there was a lot of moments where I succeeded in life and all I wanted was my dad to be there, just to be present, and he was never there. And I'm guessing that's something that you can relate to.
Yeah, like I said, when you said present, I said present at the same time. So I know exactly how you feel, man. Yeah.
Bro, this is amazing, bro. I really felt like this podcast was you know, I'm a believer too. And like I do believe that this is probably a God ordained thing, bro. And I think what you just shared now is actually already impacting people because it's impacting me. And I feel like if it impacts me, bro, it must be able to impact other people, man. Like 100%, bro. And so yeah, man. So what I want to do right now is there was another thing that you spoke about, and like, bro, like I don't want to kind of pressure you to share anything. So by all means, man, like you can share.
Man, I'm all in, I'm telling you.
Like you can share like into like as detail as you want. But I heard the second thing that you mentioned, and it was about sexual abuse. Now I know that this may be touching to people out there, so I just want to give a disclaimer to people that like this may get real deep, and if this does get deep, I encourage you to stop. I encourage you to stop listening to the podcast or potentially go into the next segment. I'll try and like work on it. The only reason I say this is because I know that a lot of people are probably going through this right now. You know, it might be really sensitive. So I just wanted to put a disclaimer out there. But yeah, bro, the second thing I wanted to kind of talk about in terms of your setback, because these people don't realize that these are the setbacks that have actually made you who you are. You know, this is like if you didn't go through these setbacks, you wouldn't be the person that you are now. And so I really want to get deep into this. And so the second thing I want to kind of talk about was, the moment where you said that you were sexually abused, because I think they'll kind of bring a lot of light into other people's, world. So, bro, could you kind of get into a bit of detail, into what happened there? Was it when you were young?
So it was when I was really young. So I never actually lived like properly, just where it was like, you know, with your parents kind of thing. So I was always with my mum, and my mum was always kind of moving around. And my mum was living with my older sister at the time. And like we'd have cousins that come from all over like different villages and whatnot, you know. So I don't know if you know much about kava, but in Fiji, like, you know, we drink a lot of kava.
Oh, bro, heavy, bro.
Yeah. So all the elderly people will be drinking kava in the main room and whatever, and everyone's like, you've got your bedtime, you've got to go to bed. But the thing is, like, you don't have your own bed. Like, you have to share one bedroom, and it's got like one bedroom's got like 3 bunk beds. There's like 2 people on one mattress, you know.
Yeah.
And then as kind of like just, you know, because like I'm young, so like I don't know nothing. So like whoever like my cousin is like in their teenage years, like obviously all their hormones are peaking and whatnot, but it wasn't right for them to like jump into my bunk bed and start like talking to me about like, oh, like let's do this, or like, you know, let's do that. Like, oh, let's try this. Can you do this for me? And then I'll do that for you. And then you kind of just go with it.
Yeah.
Because like you've never done it before, so you go with it, right?
Yeah.
So the first time it's like, you don't really think much about it. Then he goes and he tells all the other cousins. Then it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Because all your other cousins will be like, he's the easy one. You got to go and target him.
Yeah.
So the problem becomes when it is being forced on you.
Yeah.
You say no, stop. Then that's why. I mean, obviously, yes. Like even my first experience was like, you know, that shouldn't be done. But because I don't know much about it and I just went with it. When you just go with something, then like it doesn't have that much of an impact on you. But when you say no to something, it keeps going, then that's when it starts having an impact on you, you know. So this one particular time, 2 of my cousins had teamed up together and they just caught me on the corner and they kind of started, you know, taking my clothes off and like forcing things on me.
Yeah, wow.
Like, no, stop. And then like, so like one cousin was like, because like I'm a kid and they're in the teenage years, you know, so like they're much stronger. Like when you're going through puberty, like testosterone's peaking.
Oh, bro.
You have like crazy strength, right?
Yeah.
So like I was like agitating and trying to fight, just like one of my cousins just holding me down tight and like the other guy's just doing whatever he wants to do, you know, so, and it gets to a point, you're just crying and you can't do nothing because what are you going to do? Because what am I going to do? Go tell my parents? At the time, I thought if I tell my parents, I'm going to get a hiding.
Oh, 100%.
Get in trouble, you know, because, and not only that, you have a fear that your cousin's going to bash you because he gives you that look, like, don't tell your mom. Because, I'm going to hit you, you know. So it's just that you hold on to that fear and you don't say anything. But it wasn't until later on in life I realized how that impacted me, you know. So like 2 things I picked up on. Because that was opposed on me. I did the same thing on my girlfriend. Now, I know this sounds terribly wrong, but not my current girlfriend, but my ex that I was for
Yeah,
a
wow.
very long time. And I had kept asking, like, can we do something? Can we do something? And I kept negotiating until she said kind of yes, but
Yeah.
the yes was very pressured. And
Wow.
then not until it happened, I realized that, because obviously she was affected very emotionally. And that is when I realized and woke up to myself that I'm doing something that happened to me. Because the thing I didn't realize is it becomes like a normal thing. So
Yeah.
you don't see it as a problem. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what you go through is kind of what you do in a way.
Mm.
Like I was saying earlier before when we started, you know. So like it almost broke my relationship, and you know, but good thing was like everything happens for a reason. So I reevaluated myself, and I knew that that was something that I wanted to work on. So, and I did exactly that, you know. So I started working on my communication skills, and someone said, no means no. And that was it. But also, like, it creates a body image issue. Because when you're saying no to someone and they're still trying to expose you, you've kind of developed an underlying issue with how you look.
Yeah.
You know, because now when I look like this, it's because I feel that if I look like this, I'm superior to everyone, and no one is going to try something like that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, man, like that's the story, and that's how I kind of addressed it, and I kind of went through it as well myself. You know, I also created like so. Just before I hand it over to you, you know how we were speaking about parents not being there?
Yeah.
I realized one of the issues it created for me was an attachment issue. So I was very attached to my girlfriend, like, you know, like in Australia they call it whipped.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more so I was seeking that like attention that I didn't have as a kid.
Yep.
So I was always attached to my partner, and even till now, and like, you know, like my girlfriend now thinks I'm like clingy, like, you know, or people like to call it a stage 5 clinger. But you know what? I'm proud. I'm a proud stage 5 clinger, man. I'm proud.
Come on, bro.
That, you know? No shame in that, man. So,
no, I'm the same. I'm the same point, bro. I'm the same as you, bro.
Yeah, and my girl loves it, man. So if she loves it, then nothing else matters.
Bro, that's crazy, man. You know, one thing I want to state, just to add on to that, man, it's all about needs. You know, everyone has a need that not a want. It's like I'm not talking about want. I'm talking about needs. There's a specific need that we all need in life, and you know, I can relate to you when you're talking about, you know, not having like your father there. You know, growing up, it's like people don't realize, like, when you're a parent that your position as a mother or a father is very important, and you won't know until your kids like will tell you in like 20, 30, 40 years, like 40 years later, when they're like, I'm so grateful that you're here. Like for me, I've learned, because I haven't had my father around, there was a lot of mistakes I had made in life. And it would have been a lot more cool just to have my dad to have a talk with, you know? Like one thing I shared on social media was like my pornography addiction, you know? And funny enough, that's a taboo, you know, it's like subject, and it's very touchy.
And it's not easy to talk about as well.
100%, man. I felt like if my dad was there, because, you know, my mom wasn't going to talk to me about it, because obviously all she's focusing on is like building. I'm not building my relationship, but like building myself up, because, you know, in terms of my lifestyle, you know, like we weren't like kind of like the richest out there. Like, you know, there was moments where we had to eat toast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like being poor or living in poverty. And so I realized with my mum, like she was just focusing on building us up and making sure that we like that we'll maintain and that we're all good in terms of, living under a roof and having food on the table. But if my dad was there, it would have been a big difference in terms of him actually kind of telling us and disciplining us, saying like, yeah, you shouldn't do this. And I can really feel people that like out there that don't have fathers or even parents in general, like they don't have any parents in their lives, like how much of a difference it can make. But the thing is, I love that they don't make that as an excuse. We're not making that as an excuse for us not to succeed, or for you, now being a father, like you're not going to make that excuse to be like, oh, because I actually lived that experience, I'm gonna allow my daughter to go through that. You're like, no, that's not what's gonna happen. I'm gonna make sure that I'm there everywhere because that's a need. That was a need in your life, so therefore it's like, all right, I want to like place that into my own kind of children.
Yeah.
Which is, oh man, this is so intense, bro. I love it though. But honestly, man, I love these conversations because these are conversations that not a lot of people have, especially on a podcast. And so this is the reason why I love doing this. I love to get deep and I get to expose you in a positive way, for people to actually understand, like, there's actually a story behind Michael Appana, that he's not just this jacked up dude, as they would say, or like, or a gym junkie or all that jazz. I'm just thinking how other people would think. But this is actually a real genuine guy that has a big story, right? He has a big story. He's not only big in himself, but he has a big story that a lot of people don't know. And I feel like there are people out there that only focus on what they see and not focus on the real thing behind. And like, bro, that's the reason why, man, I really feel like there was a real purpose as to why we had to get you on board. And bro, I ain't stopping, man. We're still gonna go. Cause I feel like there's I feel like there's a lot in you, man, that I think a lot of people, I feel like if they're listening right now, they're like, man, I want to know more about this guy.
Yeah, like even funny enough, like talking about like how people don't know me and stuff. One of my very, very good friends now, when I met him in this gym in 2018, right? Or 2017, when he saw me at the gym, like he's from New Zealand, he's never seen me before. I spoke to him, said hi, blah, blah, blah. We spoke every now and then. The first time I spoke to him, I was on the treadmill, whatever, and he was asking me if I was competing. So I was just very neutral about everything. Then he was going around telling everyone, like, who is this Michael Appana dude? Who does he think he is? Blah, blah, blah. Like, he thinks he can lift all his weight. And, it's like, oh, he thinks he's all that. And then now he's like actually one of my really good mates. It's like my ride or die. Like, he tells people, he goes to everyone and is like, this is my ride or die. That's because he didn't know me, like
yeah.
he just knew what he got a glimpse of on the outside, but he actually never had a conversation with me or anything like that, So all he saw was me lifting out, banging out heaps of weight, and this big muscular dude walking around, and that's all he knew. Like, he didn't ask me like, oh, where you from, or like, all that kind of stuff. And like, it's so funny. There's like so many boys in this gym. I can tell you like story after story that they have said something about me that was so negative, and I actually got to know them, and now they think I'm like the best dude ever that they've met. It's actually crazy, man. Like, one of the other guys here, like, long story short, I approached him because of his situation, but I just wanted to talk to him, but he actually thought I was going to hit him or something. And he started talking. He's like, oh, you think you're all that? You're going to hit me? He's like,
oh, bro.
I was like, no, I didn't even say anything yet.
When your ego kicks on?
I didn't even say anything. I'm like, just give me a second. Just hear me out,
Bro, was this at the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, his pre-workout was probably kicking in.
And I spoke to him, and bro, he was so touched. Like, he shook my hand. He was like, man, I appreciate you so much. And then I left work that day. I went to get a haircut, and I get a message, and he's like, oh, I really appreciate you coming up to me and talking to me. He's like, it takes a real man to do that. He's like, I've got so much respect for you. He goes, wow. Like, he goes, you can only see so much on the outside, but when you actually get to know someone, it's so different, I mean, even my girlfriend now, she thought I was a big punk player.
Bro, and like, bro, actually, I can resonate with you when it comes to the stereotype. You know, as much as I work as a well-being officer in the school, and the kids know me as, you know, Mr. Josh, and that, you know, like, he's supposed to be the one that you know, helped me. The media doesn't portray that well. You know, they perceive, you know, the big dogs or the guys that are tough as security guards and certain things like that. And so sometimes, like, there's students out there that look at me and they're like, oh, I don't know if I could share it. But then what I need to do is I actually need to work my butt off just to kind of gain a bit of like safety and be like, no, it's okay. Like, whatever you say, and I won't tell like anyone unless obviously it harms. If you're going to harm yourself or it's going to hurt other people or you're going to be in real danger, that's the only time I would. But there are actually, and it's funny, it's not just like the kids, it's actually people too. Like, I'll go to the gym, bro, and I'll say hello to someone and then they just get frightened. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, they get frightened just because of the way I look. And obviously it doesn't help when you're an Islander because you're that big.
Yeah. That's, I mean, like, that's a natural feeling anyway for people to feel that way, you know. But
yeah, 100%.
It's not unless and until like people like us have conversations like that, people become aware of things, and only when you're aware of things, you can actually, you know, change how you think and how you feel. But without knowing what's going on, you're actually just guessing it, you know.
Yeah, and I think even that too, man. Like, the one thing that everyone's really good at is creating stories. Like, I say this all the time to like I said it on like one of my videos. I was like, the greatest storyteller in the world that I know is me, because I love creating all these fascinating stories that are not even true. You know, especially about people, man. Like, I always like have this thing of like, you know, I'll judge someone and be like, oh yeah, this person probably, you know, think he's all that, but it's like. But once I listen to their story, it becomes a big game changer. And I feel like there's going to be people out there that are going to listen to this and be like, yeah, I have mad respect now for Michael because he shared his story. And it's like, man, I'm more touched on who he is as opposed to what he does.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's, you know, life isn't easy. If it was easy, then everyone will be happy forever and everyone will be a billionaire. So it's just what you make of it, you know. So it's how you channel everything into what you want to do. So for people out there that's listening, you know, every little disappointment or setbacks, those are things that are meant to happen to teach you something. But take all that, whatever's happened, like, try and see what you can do for like positive from it, you know, like, take the positivity out of it rather than being like letting it be a setback and being down about it. Because you know what, like, nothing's going to change if you just sit there and you just worry about it constantly. Like, look, it's okay to worry about it and be sad about it. That's okay, but to like continually, like, you know, continue that is not healthy. Anyway, so, you know, once you've had that, once you've like, you need to kind of let it out anyway. And once you've let it out, you just kind of sit back, reassess, and you go again, you know. So I don't know if you've heard of this saying, but it goes like, God gives his like, you know, worst battles to his strongest soldiers.
100%.
So, and then I take it is if I'm going through like a rough period, like, you know, like, I know of people, and this has happened to me as well, and it's like one bad thing after the other, and it's just like, and you're like, oh, like, why me? What did I ever do to anyone? You know, but it's actually like every little thing is teaching you something in life.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, you're gonna take the positive out of it, man. You can't be like, you know, oh, be sad about it, because once you start channeling everything into positivity, man, I'm telling you, like, you change your life forever.
Yeah, 100%, man. And like, you're actually a great example of that. You know, like if you guys haven't been picking up on it, like, this guy didn't have his father around. He was sexually abused at a young age, and as a result, that actually affected his relationship with his, you know, his ex-girlfriend. And he's going through a lot of stuff. And it's funny because this is before All right, before like it's funny, we haven't really talked much about like your PT journey and stuff like that. We've been speaking a lot more about your story and about some of the things. And this is, people don't realize this. It's like the things that happen outside of your work or outside of, like outside of like your relationship, all these things actually, things in like your personal life, these are the things that actually make the real dramatic effect, whether it's positive or negative, And the cool thing is with Marco, he's actually shifted that. He's actually turned that negative in a positive. He mentioned that at the start. He mentioned that at the start of the podcast. He was mentioning that, that's the thing that he really loves to do, is actually utilize, negativity or the things that are going wrong in the world and change that into positivity. And it's funny because he's also doing that with his clients. When he has clients with him, he's doing the exact same thing that he was doing in his own life. I don't know if you realize that, Barry, but that's what I realized. I realized that that's exactly what you're doing for your client.
Yeah, I've been told that many times, man. So even like, I've been to church and my pastor will be praying for the whole church, and he'll have a vision and he'll just stop and he'll be like, son, like, like he goes, you're meant to do this. And this is how you're helping people because you've been through all this, and this is your purpose in life, So I'm just serving the purpose in my life. But if anything, man, like what I do today, it brings me like ultimate happiness. Like nothing makes me more happy to see a person's life change and see a big smile on their face. Like no money can ever buy that for me.
No, 100%, bro. And that's a cool thing, bro, that you mentioned about, like, it's like your field. Like, it's like you're full, bro. Like, every time you come to work, you're like, bro, even if it's something so small, it's like, that's not going to stop me because the vision and my why is so much bigger.
Exactly, man. And even like I promise you, I've never in my PT life, I've woken up and be like, shit, it's Monday, I hate it. It's never been that way, man. I'm always like, man, I'm so keen for Monday. I can't wait to go and catch up with, Juliet and what she did over the weekend and see, if she's followed her plan or whatnot, So, yeah, man, I love what I do. So, like for me, I'm living the dream, but I'm only living the dream because I allowed myself to, because I
come on, man,
into positivity, So whoever's listening out there, you can live your dream too. It's just how you channel it.
100%, man. And even like it's all based on like what you do with it. Like that's a cool thing about you, bro, because you actually utilize your setback and you utilize the setback to actually set yourself up for a win. Because look at you now, bro. Like you're actually able to open up about this. I feel like there are people out there probably listening to this that are being sexually abused, probably don't have a father out there, or have gone into a relationship where obviously it's been torn down. Or many other things that you mentioned today. Like, there's a lot of relatability that I believe that people are listening onto this. And so, bro, I want to talk about one more thing. And there was a third thing that you mentioned about, do you remember the third setback? I think it was about your ex in terms of baby.
Yeah. So I got into a relationship with her when I was 17. So also like one of the things, my advice to people is like, always be certain of what you want to do. So like being 17, you're a teenager, you actually don't know what you want.
Yeah, even though you feel, like you may feel like it, like that, everything, but you don't.
Yeah. So when I was 17, like I got this girlfriend, and she was kind of from her background, kind of relates back to where I'm from, and she filled in all the blanks that I didn't have as a kid.
Yeah.
Where my parents were supposed to fill the blanks, which I don't blame my parents for anyway. I mean, so I kind of just stuck onto that.
Yep.
And like, it was flowing really well, but like I still didn't know what I wanted, like deep down inside. Like I thought just everything. Growing up, I thought everything was just meant to fall into place by itself.
Yeah.
So actually what had happened was I used to have a lot of arguments with her. And I'm the type of person that, like, even though I'm wrong, sometimes I used, like, this is like the old me, right?
Yep.
Even though I know I was wrong, I still used to do it because I knew that I could get away with it.
Yep.
Which is a bad trait to have, you know. And each time we had a fight, and I was never the one to hold on to anything.
Yep.
I was just like that since I was little, you know. So every time we had a fight, I want her to like forgive me instantly, and so we can just get back on with our lives. And because I just wanted to be happy all the time, but like I also need to understand, like, she's a female, and females are different to us. You know, they take more time to kind of relax down and cool down a little bit before everything can get better. So I was always trying to look for improvements into my relationship. So what had actually happened, I went to work one day and I was really upset because I've had a massive fight at home. And one of my clients actually picked it up on me. And this is, I want to share something as well before I go any further. Some people take kindness as flirting, which is not a good thing, you know. So I think for my client, because of the person that I am, I think she interpreted it in the wrong way.
Yep.
And even my girlfriend today, she's like, "Oh, you were flirting with me like when you weren't supposed to." And I'm like, "No, I wasn't." She's like, "Yeah, you were." I'm like, "How so?" She's like, "Oh, you were just being so nice." I'm like, "Well, being nice is not flirting." Me as a person.
Yeah.
Some people take like kindness as flirting, you know. So
yeah. Wow.
I always like it's not that I treated her differently to any other of the rest of my clients, but I think she took it in the wrong way. So her energy towards me was kind of different. But I didn't understand that. Like, I thought that's how she was as a person, but I didn't see it coming. So I was really upset. So she saw me. She was like, "Hey, like, you don't see yourself. What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh no, it's all right. Like, just some stuff going at home." I'm like, "It's nothing got to do with you. It doesn't affect you. We'll just do our session and we'll smash it out." She was like, "No. Like, you know," she's like, "I've never seen you like this." And it's like, she was like, "I've known you for a while, and like, kind of makes me upset that you're like this." So I shared my story with her and I told her what happened. And she's like, "Oh, maybe you should do this." So I was like, "Okay." So I went home. So I thought, okay, so this is a female's perspective.
Yep.
Maybe I should try it. And I tried it and it worked. And it was amazing. I was like, whoa, like, I should get a female's perspective all the time.
All the time, bro.
Because I'll be perfect, you know? So, and it kept happening. And because I let that keep happening, I kind of, so what she was doing was filling in the blanks that were missing in my relationship.
Yeah.
Because that was being filled there, I started having feelings for that person. You know? So obviously I had to go and tell my girlfriend, and then pretty much after that everything was just a shitstorm.
Yep.
And it was a back and forth of going into a relationship, breaking up, in and out. Even like my mum became an alcoholic because of it. You know, like, because I try to go back into the relationship, I try to fix it. So, and she became very insecure, which is normal, which was expected, and I knew that. But every little thing was turning into a fight. Like, I'd come home, and if I was getting petrol on the way home, I'd be a little bit late. Then I'd get questioned, like, "Why were you so late?" And I get that. But after a while, it started becoming frustrating, and I'm like, you know, like you can't just keep doing this to me. Like, we need to kind of move on from this.
Yeah.
Then because we were always fighting, my mum kind of saw that all the time, and me being upset, so it kind of impacted my mum emotionally quite a lot. And her escape was alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic, and then now she started having fights with my stepdad because my stepdad was like, "The only reason I didn't marry the girl before you was because she's an alcoholic, and now I'm married to you, you'll become an alcoholic." You know?
Yeah, wow.
And like, they're actually having talks about like, oh, having a divorce and stuff. So I was like, "Oh shit, like, this is all on me." Like, because of what I did, like, look where I am. My mom's an alcoholic, she's about to have a divorce. It's going really bad at home. So I had to kind of like make a decision and see how I can fix that, you know. So I was like, hey, like, let's have a baby. Maybe maybe this will bring us closer. Which was never a good idea because it made everything much worse.
Yep.
But like I said, it is what it is, man. I tried to be there as much as I could, but I guess some things weren't meant to be, and we all just moved on from that. So,
yeah.
But there's a lot that I learned through that. That is the time when I found Jesus and God, and that's when He actually really saved me. God is also a savior for my mum because she's alcohol free ever since she's found Christ.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Bro, it's amazing, bro. But I just want to say, man, thank you so much for sharing that. One thing I praise a lot, and this is for everyone out there or anyone that comes on, thank you for sharing that story because, bro, you could have chose not to say the certain things that you mentioned, but you did anyways. And it's cool because I funny enough, like when I ask these certain questions, I don't pressure people. I just say it's up to you. Like you don't have to get into all the details, but you did.
Yeah.
And
no, I like giving details, because then people can have more of a clear understanding.
100%, bro. That's me too, bro. I'm on the same page. That's the only reason why I'd share so much detail into certain things because it gives them more clarity as to exactly what I'm trying to tell them. Yeah, and it kind of beats their story.
Rather than just people assuming,
Yes.
They have more of a clarity. So, like at the end of the day, like we're all humans and we all make mistakes, but don't let your mistakes ruin you. Like try to learn from your mistakes and see how you can improve back in life. So my relationship now is actually the best thing that's ever happened to me because the communication that I have is like extremely rare. Like you wouldn't ever see a relationship like mine. I'm not trying to like boast or anything, but I'm only talking about it is because I'm proud of it, and like I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for what I had been going through. Like if we have a fight, I swear it will last like maybe max 2 hours.
Come on, bro.
Because like the communication is on point, man. Like if I do something, she'll be like, hey, like I understand you're trying to do this, but it makes me feel this way, kind of uncomfortable. So if you can kind of meet me halfway, I'd appreciate it. And because the approach is that way, like you actually want to do it,
Yeah.
So it's like rather than like, for example, right? I'll give like a quick example. She'll be like, okay, your girlfriend could be like, oh, why are you liking that girl's photo on Instagram? Oh, you like her, you should go be with her. Then you'd probably like get fired up because how she's approached her, like, and like, as opposed to if she came to you like, hey babe, how you going? Like, I just want to bring it up with you that I saw that you like this person's photo on Insta, and like I feel that she's hotter than me, and like it kind of makes me uncomfortable when you like a photo. So like, I'd really appreciate it if you don't do that from now on, because like like I want you to respect what we have in a relationship, or kind of meet me halfway kind of thing. Then that's so much of a better approach than just like going ape shit at it.
Yeah, 100%, man. But I'm thankful that you shared that because people don't realize, like this is what I've seen, and like correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds to me that for you, the only reason why you are so like on point when it comes to communicating in terms of arguments, the only reason why you are so on point there is because you've learned the mistakes that you've made in your previous relationship. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all of that, I wouldn't be able to, do all the things that I'm doing now in my relationship. So, I mean, it's amazing, man. If anything, it's amazing, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful every day. And it's never a dull day. Even those dull moments is like maybe last for about 60 minutes.
Yeah.
About it, so it'll be like, oh, I'm sorry I behaved this way, and I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. That I love you, and I don't like these things happening, but it's normal for couples to have a fight, and and that's us. It's normal. Like these things are normal. Don't be too upset about it, and don't hold it against each other. And then we just make it up,
Yeah. No, legit, man. And so, bro, so knowing that you've mentioned all about these setbacks that you've went through, what are some of the learning curves that you went through that you can possibly share to those that are listening? Some things that you've learned.
In terms of like this last setback that I've talked about.
Oh, probably all three of them, bro. Kind of all three. Like just overall, man. Like what's like up to you, man. Like how you do it, but like what's some of the things that you've learned?
Well, in terms of like relationship, communication is always key. Now, it's always easy to say, yeah, communication is key, but in saying that, it's the approach that counts. Yes,
Yeah.
communication needs to be there, but it's always the approach that will always matter. It's how you approach a situation which is going to tell you if you're going to end up into an argument or if it's going to be solved in a good way, you know. But overall, like from everything that I've spoke about, just for the people that are listening out there, just know that it's okay to feel things and be upset and whatnot. It's okay to do all that, but always analyze, see how you can progress from it, you know, because it's normal for us humans to just be upset and sad about it and actually don't do nothing about it because you think tomorrow's a new day, I'm going to wake up. And, but it's actually never going to leave your mind. So you always need to analyze everything that you did, everything that you've gone through, and see how you can like take the positives out of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's something that I was listening to this whole time, bro. Just analyze. You know, and like that's cool, bro.
And another thing is just like, you know, you want to always stay hungry, and not as in like be greedy. Because like when I say always stay hungry, like people are like, oh, like this guy is like his money making machine, but it's not that. It's like be hungry as in like always like tell yourself what's next, because you're always progressing and progressing and learning for your own self, you know, so you're always learning something new and you're progressing. So it doesn't always have to be about money. It can be about your emotions and feelings and whatnot as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, one thing I've learned through life is that, never like become content in what you do, but never become satisfied. Always think about there's always more that you can do. But then again, like you have to place a limitation, you know, you have to kind of limit yourself to be like, okay, this is, and I think like you would know this based on being a PT, like this is the reason why it's best to go with like just taking small steps and actually having little goals. Like one thing I've learned from you, bro, is that you always kind of encourage your, and it's funny, like you haven't told me this, but I've seen it. I've seen what you've done in terms of your clients. Like one of the things you do is you get them to do kind of the 10K steps. Like get them to do kind of like 10,000 steps, like just get walking, get active. And it was funny, I was thinking about that today when I was at the gym. I was like, but that's the one thing I actually got out of this guy was that, like, you know, it's all about moving. It's all about kind of having that little small goal and then obviously building up from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would be kind of out of context, but like, I'll just quickly touch base on that. Doing 10K steps probably averages about 480 to 550 calories that is burnt, you know?
Yeah.
So if I was to tell you, hey, like part of your program, I want you to go and do 50 minutes on the treadmill and get 400 calories, you know, like, well, what is the likelihood of you doing that every single day? But when I tell you like, oh, you got to do 10K steps, and it's much easier because like, you're like, maybe I'll, like, for example, you went grocery shopping, you know, like you do maybe 10 laps, or you park your car really far away from the shops, trying to crack your 10K steps. It becomes a little bit more fun, you know, rather than just being in one place and just walking for 50 minutes.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, and that's all I'm trying to create is get people to move a little bit more without realizing it. You know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's a great tactic. You know, you want to try and make it easy, like kind of easier for them to actually start achieving their goals. I think one thing a lot of people do, especially when you don't have a PT, like a personal trainer helping you. This is the reason why PTs are they exist, is to actually help you on your journey, on your fitness journey, to get to your goals. But one thing I had learned, and this is based on listening to people tell me this, just from like, you know, them being at the gym, it's like, I don't know why I'm not achieving the goals that I want. It's like, well, the reason why is because like you've created like this massive goal that you want to achieve by next week. It's like you gotta start small. Like you actually like there was one guy that he said, "Oh, I want to lose 50 kilos by next week." I was like, "Oh, here we go." Like we got an overachiever that is wanting to achieve that. It's like you need to kind of set some small goals before hitting those big goals.
Yeah, man, I get that all the time. Like I'd get clients coming here and like, you know, they're skinny and I'll tell them like, okay, let's start working on some of the goals.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your 12-week goals, talk about your 6-month goal, we'll talk about your 12-month goal. And I'll start. We're like, so what do you think your 6-month goal is like? And we're like, oh, like, I want to look like you. Like, oh, like it's really not that easy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, putting on muscle takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of food, a lot of time,
a lot of money too.
Exactly. Unless you're very genetically gifted. I know of so many people that just look at weights, they touch weights, and then just blow up. You know, but that's because genetically they're very superior.
Yeah.
And it's scientifically proven that, you know, people are genetically superior to putting on muscle quicker than others. But in saying that, everyone can put on muscle.
100%.
It's just, you know, determination, consistency, and just the sustainability, you know, how long you can sustain something for. So, and like you were saying before, the key to all of that, the key to ultimate success is small goals. Without small goals, you can't get to the top. You know, it's like if you're going to climb a mountain, you need to start from the bottom and go towards the top. Or for example, like building a house. You can't build a house from the roof down. You got to start the floor. You got to start with the foundation, and you got to sort of work your way up before you can actually put the roof on your house. So kind of the same thing. Everything applies in life as well. You know? So ultimate success comes from small little goals until you get to that big. Like, yeah, it's amazing. It's great to be very ambitious and dream big. And I always encourage everyone to dream big. You know.
Yeah.
But you always got to set small goals. Like, I'm not sure if you saw my story the other day. One of my mates, and he's a client of mine as well. He actually wanted to be the strongest powerlifter in Australia, but no one believes in him. But I told him, you know what? Don't worry about what anyone else says. You can unlock unlimited amount of greatness. You just got to believe in yourself. I told him, I believe in you. If I believe in you, you should believe in yourself too.
Yeah, come on.
And it's like it's changed how he thinks about everything. So now he's like that's all the support that I needed. And now he's like, I'm gonna go and prove all these people wrong and whatnot, you know. And he's just very humbled by it that like someone like me can believe in him, you know, because he's always looked up to me and looked up to the type of work I do, because he's a PT as well.
Yeah.
He's always looked up to me, you know. So like, and it's coming from me towards him is like kind of very. It's just like, you know, like if you look up to someone and they say like, I believe in you, you can do this. It's like a kind of like an unreal feeling, man. So, which like I didn't do that on purpose. Like I do actually believe in him.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like all my other clients, man. Like I believe in every single one of them. Everyone has an ability to unlock their full potential. So it's just, you know, they don't know it yet. So by hiring me by having me as a PT, obviously I have all these conversations with them, and then I make them realize things like, hey, you're doing this way. Did you realize you're doing it because of this? I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that, you know. So man, you just got to start small, and that's the key to everything. You just got to start small and keep going.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, bro, that's amazing, bro. It's amazing that you're still impacting people. You know, you're still kind of investing into the one, which is cool, because that's something that I believe in terms of the podcast. Like, we're always, you know, really focusing on impacting the one, and I do believe that you've impacted the one. You already impacted the one, bro. That's for sure. But bro, like what I want to do now is we're probably gonna wrap it up now. But what I want to do, man, I want to hear in terms of the vision, bro. What's the vision behind Michael Appana in terms of being a PT, or even in terms of bodybuilding? What's the initial goal, bro? What's the initial vision?
So for myself.
Yeah, for yourself, bro.
Yeah. So right now, so like I was mentioning before, I always get to a point in life where I say, what next? So for me, I don't think being a competitive bodybuilder is anywhere in my books anymore. That's only because I'm a father now. So, being a competitive bodybuilder requires quite a lot. And,
yeah.
I don't want to rob my time with my daughter from her. So, and I don't want to, I'm not sure, but if you've seen a bodybuilder that's starting into show, they're always in this zombie mode. I don't want to give that to my daughter.
Yeah.
Be full of energy and whatnot. So for me, it's kind of okay, so what next? So for myself, now I've been doing coaching for quite a while. So the next step for me is I want to go with doing some apparel.
Nice.
So not for not trying to be Muscle Nation or anything big like that, but just apparel for people that I've worked with.
Yeah.
So whoever I've coached is, will have access to my apparel. It's kind of representing my brand. And then eventually, as I get maybe later on to this year, I'm looking into teaching Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness.
Nice.
And then at the same time, I'm looking into in the future, I want to coach coaches, so I want to coach people on how to get clients and retain clients, because that's something that no one helped me with. And I struggled a lot at, but I axed it, man. I actually nailed it, and it was no fluke, I put in hard work, put in the hard yards, and I got there. So me as a coach for other coaches, what I want to do is I want to take all the guesswork out for them, and I don't want them to make all the same mistakes.
Yeah.
I want to see more coaches out there, because as you know, we live in a society where body image is such a big thing. So obviously, the type of coaches we're going to have is going to have a very big impact on society. So I want nothing but the best coaches out in our society. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm headed in the next few years. I want to start actually work on my brand and then start coaching coaches.
That's hectic, bro. I love it, man. I love it. I love the vision, bro. I love that you're wanting to, obviously create your own kind of brand, not because you're wanting to, I wouldn't say it's for the fame or for money. It's actually for the impact. You're really wanting to give it to those that actually have been impacted by you, which will actually make a big difference in terms of, a big distinguish between you kind of giving your apparel to your clients as opposed to people just buying it just because. I feel like people buy it for the story. And I feel like, bro, you have a real touchy story behind it. And the cool thing is, bro, you have the platform here right now. People can just listen to your to this podcast and be like, okay, that's the reason why. That's the reason why he's my coach, and that's the reason why he's my personal trainer.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, not everyone gets to know my story as much detail as you just did right now. That's only because, I know there was a reason behind this. So, I just went all in. I think my current girlfriend probably wouldn't even know the whole detail too. she probably, she knows all bits and pieces, but not so much in thorough detail, But I'm not afraid to share my story at all, man. I want people to know that these things are normal, and you can turn your life around from it and just think positively and create something out of it positively as well.
Yeah, man. No, 100%, bro. 100%, man. I just want to say thank you so much, bro, for taking out your time. We're actually we're an hour and 30 minutes in, bro. Which is cool, man. It's certainly cool because this is all part of the podcast, man. Just having a conversation. instead of things like that. And so, bro, like just to finish it up completely, one thing I love to do is to finish off with an encouragement or just something that's on your heart, man. It can be anything, bro. It can be based on your story. It can be based on you being a PT or your bodybuilding or even just life in general, man. So is there like some sort of an encouragement that you can possibly share to those that are listening?
So, I've said it again and again. Don't let setbacks bring you down in life. Always try to see what positive outcomes you can have from it. And just as I was saying to you, like, everything happens in life for a reason. So when I actually got into bodybuilding first, I got given a t-shirt. Like, it's like my first bodybuilding apparel. On the back of it, it said, "The pain you feel today is the strength you will feel tomorrow."
Come on.
Can you understand that phrase and how much it applies to my actual life? You know what I mean? Like everything that I've been through, the pain that you feel today is the strength you will feel tomorrow. So for anyone that's out there listening and you've been through some stuff, it's just a bad day. You can do this. You can overcome it. You're a better person. So just analyze and visualize who you want to be. Believe in yourself. Even if no one believes in you, you need to believe in yourself to get to where you want to be. And there's actually so many people that who are very successful today. When they shared their idea, what they wanted to do, no one actually believed in them, but look at them where they are today. So without you believing in yourself, it's not going to happen. So always, every day when you wake up, have a goal, believe in yourself, and just have little goals, write it down and put it. I'm telling you, it works, man. When you write down stuff and stick them, they actually work. So, just take every day as a blessing. As a learning curve, even when something bad happens, it's a learning curve for you. Just know that it's a learning curve because you're going to get something positive out of it, regardless of how bad it is. You won't know it at the time. Like trust me, you won't know. Like, you're like, something will happen. You're like, I don't know what positive I'm getting out of this. This is just that's normal. That's normal. You'll realize it sooner or later, because when you're feeling all these feelings, you can't think straight. But once all those feelings come down a little bit, you're able to reassess. So just keep striving for ultimate greatness, man. It's just like there's no better feeling in the world when you're knowing that you're gonna achieve something, and when you actually achieve it, it's like for me, my best achievement was when I did my first bodybuilding comp. Like, no trophy actually mattered to me. I swear to you. Even though I won, like, my first comp, it didn't mean nothing to me. The best feeling was me getting up there and making people proud. Like, when I heard the people that love me cheer for my name, I was having goosebumps down my back. I couldn't pose, like, I didn't look like a bodybuilder, like I'm having goosebumps on stage. But that was the best feeling, man. Like, people that love you, making them proud of your achievements is the best feeling. No money can buy that, man.
Yeah, wow. Bro, very touching, man. Very touching, bro. Very touching. So, guys, that's it, right? That is all that we got. Bro, I can talk for days, bro. With Michael.
We can do a part 2, maybe something.
Yeah, no, legit. Oh man. Well, obviously, like at the moment now of this recording, we're actually going through the COVID season. So my goal after this, obviously, restrictions and this COVID starts to end and fold. Like my goal is to start bringing people in and start doing some face-to-face. So obviously, bro, there'll be another moment, bro, where we're going to talk, maybe all business. I have no clue, but we'll get something on all sorted out there, bro. So guys, that is all that we got for this podcast. I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, bro, Michael, man. Thank you so much for joining on and jumping on board. And bro, what's the best way that people can connect with you?
Instagram, man. So if you want to find me, just jump on my Instagram. It's Michael Appana, just one word. And Appana, you spell it with A, with a double P, so APPANA, and it's just underscore at the end. You'll probably see a photo of me curling, doing a bicycle. Yeah, it's just a marketing tool to get person's attention to drive attention to my page to see who I am and what I do.
Yeah, sweet. So for those out there,
that's the only form of social media that I'm currently using.
Yep.
We will be doing YouTube soon. I'm just filming a whole lot of content at the moment.
Nice.
And it's nothing to like do with like me marketing or anything. It's pretty much taking everything back to the basics of
Nice.
nutrition and training. Just something that
Yeah, nice. Very sorry about that, man. But guys, for those out there that is watching this video on YouTube, it'll be down in the links down below in the description. But if you guys are listening through this through Spotify and or the Apple Podcast, just jump onto our Instagram page and you'll be able to find him through our following. We will be following him on Instagram on the Impact Podcast Show. So guys, make sure you guys check out over there if you guys want to connect with Michael Appana. But guys, that is all that we got. I want to say thank you so much for everyone that is listening, bro. Thank you so much, Michael, for jumping on board. And guys, we'll see you guys in the next one.